Hello everyone, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts. This is a Q&A episode, and so let's actually get right to it. So Benjamin from Hong Kong has got 3 questions for me. So let's actually read them all, and then I'll go one by one. So, is the Tyrannosaurus skeleton that is displayed in the Rochester Museum Albertosaurus or Appalachiosaurus? Can Albertosaurus run faster than Allosaurus? And are the arms of Acrocanthosaurus very strong and muscular? So to the first question, is the Tyrannosaurus skeleton that is displayed in the Rochester Museum Albertosaurus or Appalachiosaurus? I did take a look at the website, and so they do claim it's Albertosaurus. So it might be a juvenile, Albertosaurus, because for right now, Appalachiosaurus actually does not have the skull that Albertosaurus actually has. Appalachiosaurus' skull is a little bit wider and also kind of has shorter teeth than Albertosaurus, and so that actually will answer your question there. And so, when I look at that picture, I do see there's bigger teeth and also the shorter arms and almost like the build of like a basic Albertosaurus that you actually will see of a Tyrannosaur. And can Albertosaurus run faster than Allosaurus? Well, that's an interesting question, because you see, because when we look at Allosaurus and Albertosaurus, so they're both different timelines. So pretty much they're farther in time, because they're pretty much far apart in time, and then you actually have to look at like how they're built. Albertosaurus is actually built more like a speedster for a Tyrannosaur, and especially a large Tyrannosaur. And then you actually look at Allosaurus, and basically like an Allosaurus, showing it does have the capability to actually do some quick bursts of speed, but actually for a limited time though. And so these are animals that actually probably almost had the same speed, but I think Albertosaurus might be faster than Allosaurus, because there is a journal article about the inertia or the agile movements of Tyrannosaurs and how they actually are much better than other large theropods. And so you should look that up. Look up the inertia of Tyrannosaurs paper. Look on Peer J or any of the paleontological journals out there. It is actually very unique paper to read, and Tom Holtz is actually part of this paper, and so it is actually very interesting. But the math, if you don't understand the mathematics, that's okay, because sometimes mathematics is a little bit confusing. But you actually will get the idea of that, possibly due to the musculature and how the angle of the legs are of Tyrannosaurs, that they could actually do much quicker bursts, or at least turn much quicker than Allosaurs and Carcharodontosaurs, Spinosaurs, and even Abelisaurs. And so those are the large meat-eating dinosaurs, and so you actually kind of will see is that Tyrannosaurs would have the ability to turn much quicker than those other large meat-eating dinosaurs. So I would think Albertosaurus would actually be running 30 miles per hour, whereas Allosaurus would actually be 25. So they're pretty close in speed. It's just that Albertosaurus will be more agile than Allosaurus. And are the arms of Acrocanthosaurus very strong and muscular? Well, when we actually look at the arms of a large meat-eating dinosaur, and so since we're actually talking about Acrocanthosaurus, Acrocanthosaurus' arm bones are kind of pretty heavy duty, and so when we actually kind of look at them, we would suggest that they have a lot of muscle there. Now, they're going to have a lot more muscle than a Tyrannosaur on their arms, and so that's the main thing, is that Tyrannosaurus rex could possibly bicep curl like between 400 and 450 pounds, whereas probably Acrocanthosaurus could probably actually curl probably a lot more than that, probably towards 600 to 700 pounds, and so that's pretty hefty duty arms there. And so, Tom Holtz has said it in our Monsters Resurrected as the Arnold Schwarzenegger of meat-eating dinosaurs, Acrocanthosaurus is. And so I tend to agree with him. I'd say that that Acrocanthosaurus is probably one of the stronger meat-eating theropods out there, but not as strong as Tyrannosaurus rex in terms of total muscle mass. But in terms of arm mass, Acrocanthosaurus would actually have the upper hand. But yeah, the muscles of Acrocanthosaurus are pretty large in the arms, whereas Tyrannosaurus rex, not as much muscle. And so that actually kind of solves the idea. But also, just to let you guys know, is that arm movements of meat-eating dinosaurs are very limited, especially the ones that have smaller arms, like the Tyrannosaurs and the Allosaurus Carcharodontosaurus, because you see, they're not going to move their arms that much. Acrocanthosaurus can actually move its arms like this, probably in a 15-degree angle. 15 degrees, so that's not a lot. And then for motion like this, they can actually do possibly almost 15 degrees that way as well. And so that's not a lot. And so that suggests us that they didn't need to use their arms that much. Because first of all, if you're catching large sauropods, you don't need to use your arms. You actually use your jaws. And so that's why large meat-eating dinosaurs that have the larger skulls tend to usually use their heads as their main weapons instead of their arms, because if they try to grab something with their arms first that is too big for them to actually tackle down on their own, they're going to get dragged. And so just to let you guys know about that. And so look up Monsters Resurrected, Acrocanthosaurus. It was called the Great American Predator. And so you actually we'll look at that. That's probably a little bit more of the accurate episode of Monsters Resurrected. Megalania is also the one that is actually a little bit more accurate as well. And so those are the actual ones that are actually a little bit more accurate. But if you're actually looking at for more accurate ones, the other ones are just not quite as accurate. The Spinosaurus one is completely dated. It is no longer valid. And a few others are not that great as well. I mean, the Terrorbird one was actually pretty interesting, but the Mosasaur one would be pretty close to accurate, but not totally. But Monsters Resurrected, you guys can check that out, and you can actually debate about which one was actually the more accurate episode. But anywho, next week would actually be a special episode, so I'll let you guys know what kind of prehistoric animal I'm going to talk about. I will probably go to a dinosaur this time. I'll probably actually think about a meat-eating dinosaur I'll talk about. I'm thinking about a raptor, probably a dromaeosaur. So I'll let you guys know what kind of dromaeosaur I'll be talking about. So just to let you guys know, I'll let you guys know about that probably by Monday. I'll actually post something on Facebook when the time comes. And but you guys can still send me questions about dinosaurs or any other prehistoric life by email me at dinochrist71@gmail.com, or just go on my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris. Like the page, you can actually post your questions on the wall or in the comments section. Remember, keep your questions short to the point. You can also follow me on Twitter at CSGRALL. That's my Twitter page. I post pretty cool stuff on there. Also, take care of the people around you, and also for your younger people out there, and make sure to listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. It's the best motivation you can have a good education. It's very important to have a good education. With a good education, you do a good job in the future. Alright, that's it for now, and I'll see you guys next week.